always, I like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High and His only begotten Son. Call Halayim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Okay, do honors unto the apostles and elders, a great millstone, root and teach well, Wa Barakathum, unto the hopeful elect. All right, today through the Spirit, I want to go into a video entitled This New Year. I forgot how I had the title exactly on the title of the video, but ultimately, this new year is gonna bring much sorrow. Okay, and I got this etymology dictionary right here, so we're gonna be going into a couple of words in this video. This is the dictionary etymology, right? So I want to get that word sorrow because that's what this new year is gonna bring. You see? So let's see here. So, oh, misery as well. I want to start with sorrow. Where did I get it at? I had it pulled up. Okay. Because that's what we're getting ready to experience as, they push out this 6G. Because what's going on along with them pushing out the 6G? They're also pushing that anti-shim, right? Which I'm saying it like that, but for a code, because they'll flag the video. But ultimately, they're coming against a lot of Islamic, let's see, how would I say it? A lot of these Islamic groups, they're coming against those people, or anybody that's anti N-W-O, they're being targeted, and they're going to use this 6G, this new technology, to means of tracking people and, to ultimately further their squeeze on people. You see? And that's going to lead to more sorrow. And also this war is ramping up as well. So it's a lot going on through the lens of prophecy. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're in it. And we're going to see stuff get real tight out here. All right, I want to get that word sorrow. Okay. I got mourning as well. I'm going to get sorrow and I'm going to get mourning. Okay, this is the word sorrow, etymology dictionary. Okay, it says right here, it says probably about 1150. That word says grief, emotional distress. Okay, it says going on down more and more. Right, so it's it says Sorjay from 1150. Right, it says grief for emotional distress, and people are gonna be in emotional distress because stuff is getting so expensive. People aren't gonna be able to afford these lifestyles they were living. Right, you have a lot of these celebrities who were making top earners, making over 6 figures, but now they're starting to feel it. And people who are at 6 figures, it's starting to be as if they're not, right? Because it's rare for somebody to be making 200,000 a year, 150,000 a year. But a lot of people that are making that much money, they're starting to feel it because stuff is going up. The prices of everything is going up. Their interest rates on things is going up, right? So it's going to get worse as this war ramps up and as they crash this American dollar that everybody's so hell bent off of. And even, you have certain men that are getting into the crypto and getting into the investments, trying to gain assets. They're going to implement a device to where they're going to have control over your assets and everything you have. Once they put this device, and this device is known as the Revelation 13 and 16, that MOTB. That device is very close. That's why you want to push out this 6G to have a technology that's fast enough to process it, man. When people scan with their hand or their forehead, it'll be able to pick it up real fast. You see, that's what they're getting ready to push out. And that's why you have that N-Link, which by Elon Musk, he has the N-Link. I'm saying it in code, right? Which is giving people who are paraplegic or can't walk or are blind the ability to be able to walk again or be healed again. You see, they're trying to be deemed and be viewed as being like they're the Most High. They want you to look at him as like, yeah, I'm the reason why you can eat. I'm the reason why you're blind and you can see. I'm the reason why you're able to make it in society because you're bowing down to me. They want to be worshipped. And that's how that's what they're forcing everybody to do, is to look at them as being their Lord, right? Being their power. right? And he's going to force people into it. And that's what we're going to see in this coming year. People are going to be in what? Great emotional distress. And I want to get that word mourning as well. Okay. This is right here, mourning. Okay. You see where is it at? I know I have a thing to, let's see. Oh, mirth. I got the word mirth right here. We're going to get mirth too. This is the mind, but this is where people are right now. While we're entering into this new year, people are popping firecrackers and what I'm saying, celebration, talking about their goals and all the stuff they're gonna do in the coming years, right? They're in the house of mirth, right? Which the mirth in the etymology, it says probably about 1300. Mirth, a source of joy. Earlier, mirthe, from Old English, joy or pleasure, right? So people are in a mindset of joy and pleasure, but ultimately, what's going to get ready to happen is a rude awakening, and this is the King James 16:11, which you're going to be reading out of. Okay, I want to get this first precept because people are in a mindset of a celebration, joy, feeling good, pleasing the flesh. Meanwhile, it's going to be in some times to where you ain't gonna be able to please your flesh. Esau Esau said, "Hey, you're gonna have nothing and be happy." That's the type of mindset, type of timing that he's on. He's trying to make you be a part of his dystopian society, where you you're fully in a police state, where he's fully has control over you and dominance, right? And that's what he wants to do. And once he does that, you're not gonna have no control over your finances. You're not gonna have no control over your privacy. It's not gonna be no more such thing as privacy. You see, really, you already don't. They have technology where it can track exactly where you are, what you're doing on your phone, on these devices and everything. They have these things. They have SpaceX, which are these satellites. They have Palantir. You see, they have technology where they're already able to track you. And once they push to 6G, that technology is going to be magnified on a higher level. So you really don't have no privacy already. But this is the way we're heading. They want to fully take away, they quote unquote want to take away the crime and, take away all people who are not legally supposed to be here. They want to be able to track everybody, things of that sort, man. Like they're the Most High. You see? And that's where we're heading. So people that are in the house of mirth, celebrating, they have a rude awakening coming because they weren't paying attention to what's going on. Okay, I want to get started. Ecclesiastes. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7. All right, I'm gonna start at verse 3. It says, "Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better." Right? You're in a mindset of reflection, accountability, figuring out how you can be better, how you can, build character, how you can be more of a asset, man. That's the mindset that the elect is in, trying to make sure they're an asset unto the Lord. You see, while everybody else is in a mindset of trying to further this current kingdom, which the Lord said he's going to destroy. That's why the Lord is allowing Esau, which Esau is the quote unquote, he's called white, but he's not, nothing's pure about him. But he's the quote unquote white man. These top banking families, Rothschilds, Eibenhammers, Rockefellers, all these top banking families, these little hats. I call them little hats because we got to speak in code, but you know what I'm talking about. Over there in the Middle East. Not Middle East, but over there eastward. You know where they at. Okay? I call them little hats, right? Those guys, man, those are Edomites. You see? And they're the ones that's ruling this wicked and evil kingdom, which the Lord says he's going to destroy. And he said there's going to be saviors to come and judge the mount of Esau. So as this dude is in power, the Lord is going to raise up the house of David when he returns in those new bodies, and they're going to come and take down his wicked kingdom. But the point I'm going into is most of the Lord's people, which are Israelites, they're in the house of they're not in the house of mourning. They're in the house of mirth. They're trying to help further this current kingdom we're in. They're not looking to the kingdom to come. All right. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 3. "Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better." It says the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. We just read what mirth is: joy, pleasures. They all want to feel good. That's the mindset of the average Israelite, really the average person in America. They just want to feel good all the time. Well, let's get rid of precept on that. We're going into it. All right. Let's see. Let's go back. And we just read what sorrow means. It's like grief. So the elect are what? They're grieved because we know that we've sinned against our power and we need mercy. We're hoping for that mercy. So that's bothering us in our mind. You see, wanting to not be judged by the Lord. We're fearing the higher power to stay on his good side. So we're aligning our lives to what he's getting ready to do. You see, so that means you're in the house of grief, while everybody else is in the house of mirth, joy, celebration, feel good all the time. So I want to get this precept real quick. That's what majority of the people, all they care about is feeling good. Nobody wants to do nobody wants to do the important things. They just want to do things that feel good to the flesh. You see, nobody wants to like, for example, everybody wants to be a superstar and get a whole bunch of followers on the internet. Nobody wants to go and do those jobs that are hard, right? Like tradesmen, the jobs that are needed to keep society held together. Nobody wants to do that. These young people nowadays, they want to go do social media, be a streamer, get famous online and do all that stuff. They want to get rich quick or do something like that. You see, but nobody wants to go through that rough way. But that way is the way to life. Because when you follow the Lord, you got to go through rough things, man. This is Sirach, known as Ecclesiasticus, chapter 19 and verse 5. It says, whoso taketh pleasure in wickedness shall be condemned. But he that resisteth pleasures crowneth his life. And we just read one of the etymology definitions of mirth is what? Pleasure, joy or pleasure. You see, so we're supposed to resist joy and pleasures. And that leads to you what? Being in a mindset of sorrow. You see, because I also want to get this precept. This is 1 Peter 4, because people, a lot of the average person, they just want to feel good all the time. They don't like having serious conversations. They don't like being told about themselves. They don't like going through uncomfortable things. That's why the average person is out of shape in America, because nobody wants to stop doing things like, listen, okay, you don't want to track your food. You drink all the time. You don't want to have a consistent regimen of going to the gym or working out, going for runs or walks. You don't want to do that. So instead, you make excuses. You see? You make excuses for yourself so you can keep doing whatever pleasures you have, right? And that's ultimately the ways of death. Is pleasure. Feel good. You see, I want to get this precept next. And I've been, we have to examine ourselves on that. We have certain pleasures and things that feel good, and we having to cut down on that stuff, man, because we're not in the time. We're about to be in some very uncomfortable times. So we got to learn how to be uncomfortable. You see, I want to get this precept. It's kind of Peter. My page is up. This one of the first Bibles I got, so it's all jacked up. Okay, I found it though. This is 1 Peter 4. Okay, I'm gonna start at the first two verses, man. It's 1 Peter 4, chapter 1 and 2. It says, for as much then as GMSqambachaayar have suffered for us in the flesh, right? He called hell. He didn't come here to do what he wanted to do, his own joy or pleasures. He resisted pleasure, right? Arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. Peter writing a letter to the fellow believers. You see, a lot of the men of the Lord, they were getting persecuted in this time, man, by Nero, and then you had 70 AD that was coming. It was catching hell. So this is what they were saying. To endure the persecution, to continue to keep the faith. We're finna get the same thing is gonna happen to us. A lot of our people is gonna come down against us, and then these Edomites, they're gonna come down, they're gonna take away a lot of our comforts, and then they're gonna just start trying to martyr us and kill us. One of the brothers in our camp was going into it earlier. Brother Year One did a beautiful lesson going into it. They're going to start trying to attack. Eventually, they're going to stop trying. They're going to okay, these niggas ain't cracking by us, taking away their comforts. So that's why we got to be prepared to be uncomfortable. Put our bodies in that that mindset of discipline our flesh. So that means cutting off certain things that feel good. That's the mindset the elect is in, examination, while everybody else in the mindset is going harder in the pleasures, right? They're not arming themselves with the mind of Yahweh Shai, but see, they're gonna be forced to like let go of a lot of the things that feel good to them. We're willingly letting go of a lot of our pleasures, while they're gonna be forced to, and their body and their mindset isn't gonna be prepared for that. This is 1 Peter 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. For as much then as the Mashiach Yahweh Shai have suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that have suffered in the flesh have ceased from sin. That's what happens. Because you're not bowing, you're not giving in to the lust of the flesh. So if you don't give in to the lust of the flesh, you're gonna suffer. Your flesh is gonna burn to do some wickedness and evil and desires. It might not even be wicked, but it might just be not in season. For example, your flesh, if you're a young man, you might want to pop a whole bunch of women. You might want to go travel. You see? But we're in a time period of us locking in, zoning in on his ministry, doing his work. You know, if you always chasing women, you always traveling, you always out of town or something, you ain't gonna have time to do the work. Or if you consistently chasing money, you see? So that's just a little example. Those are just examples. Of course, of course you still go get your bread. You got to make your living. Of course, you're gonna pop some women. Of course, you're gonna go to work, whatever the case may be. You may, if the Lord permits it, you may go travel or something. But that's not what you're gonna fully devote your time into. You see? Because then that'll lead to you what? You not doing what Yahweh Shai did. Yahweh Shai suffered in the flesh because he ceased from those things. He had to put his pleasures to the back burner. Okay, this is 1 Peter 4 and 2. That he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of the Heavenly Father. So you aligning your life with what the Lord's will is, which doesn't feel good. You know, easier said, speaking myself first and foremost, it's easier said than done. Doing what the Lord wants you to do don't feel good to the flesh a lot of times. You might have to lose your family or your wife. You might have to let your kids might go back into the world, and you got to keep going forward. You might watch one of your loved ones get put to death. You know, that doesn't feel good, but if that's the will of the Lord, you got to accept it and keep moving forward in faith. But this is the times we in, man. You see? And our elder named this year the year of apostasy and sellouts. So a lot of these guys, they're gonna crack from this hell, from the stuff Esau's gonna do. You know, they're gonna give in. They're gonna bend the knee. They're gonna quit because they were all in that mirthful, joyous, pleasure spirit. So they wasn't detaching from a lot of these pleasures. So like for example, a lot of J like to eat whenever they gotta fast for a while because they don't take the MOTB, which a lot of them don't even know what the MOTB is. But I'm saying the Jakes that do, the ones that wasn't properly preparing themselves in this grace period, they gonna be through in that time. They don't ever fast at all. You know, they was all riotous with eating and drinking. So now when those comforts get taken away, the Israelites that were like that, they ain't gonna stand a chance. That spiritual muscles ain't gonna be worked up enough to be able to endure. You see? So I want to go back here. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7. I'm gonna get 3 and 4. I'm gonna read verse 3 and 4 again. I'm gonna read down. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. Where a heart goes into la'ab, which means mind in the Hebrew. Your la'ab is made better because your mindset grows. You become better character. You gain character through going through situations. Catching hell builds up your character. You learn how to apply these scriptures in these situations to get out of the situation. Right, verse 4, it says, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. The heart of the people without understanding. Right? The people who ain't true believers of Yahweh Shai. Their mindset is all geared towards building on this side, trying to get a position, get rank, and get fame, get glory, right? To ultimately try and get a spot in a kingdom that's forwarding our enemies and that's putting us on the bottom, keeping us on the bottom, right? So they can get a piece of the pie. But that means that's going to lead to them being destroyed, to their demise, right? Because we're not coming into some times where, like, Esau does not plan on putting Israelites in a high position. What he's getting ready to do is make himself be likened unto the Most High. You see? And I want to get this real quick because, hey, this is what this year is going to bring. I want to get Psalms 10th chapter. This year is going to really, Esau is going to show his horns. How much he really doesn't care about you Israelites. This is Psalms chapter 10. And I'm going to start at verse 2. It says, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor, right? That's the Israelites. We're the ones that are poor and afflicted, the brokenhearted. Like it speaks about in Isaiah 61. That's the Israelites. All right, it says, let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Because that's the Lord's getting ready to do. He's gonna trap Esau up. Esau's trying to set up this N-W-O, this new take. Right? He's also giving these nations a part of his blessing, his sword. So they're gonna shoot missiles at him. You see, verse 3. For the wicked boasted of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous, whom the Lord abhorred. The Lord don't like covetousness. And who's the ultimate coveter? These devils are. They always trying to get somebody else land. They attacked Nigeria recently. They trying to forgot which nation over there. You know, I forgot who it is. It's not Cuba. It's somebody else. But there was another nation. They were just they submitted to Trump. They was like, okay, we give in. Right? And then they've been trying to keep Ukraine. Well, really, they was already a part of with Russia. You see, that's them being covetous, man. You see, he always trying to take somebody else's stuff. And he's always been that way, as the Romans and as the Greeks. You see, the wicked Edomites. It says, verse 4, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Heavenly Father. The Heavenly Father is not in all his thoughts. He don't think about the Lord. He thinks he's going to be like the Most High. He wants to take the Most High position, right? It says, verse 5, it says, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He's all talking shit. You see, these Edomites, they talk shit. You see, we're the greatest military ever. Donald Trump, he's nothing but a puppet. But these devils, they're very proud, man. They take very high pride in their military and their sword. You see, verse 6, it says, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. And the Lord is going to bring adversity to America, right? Even though these top elite banking families are orchestrating a lot of the stuff, the Lord is going to have it set up to where it's going to be adversity on all of them. Even the ones that went to them bunkers, right, trying to hide. Hey, it's going to be great adversity towards you Edomites who live so long without care and pleasure and mirth. You see? So all this N-W-O agenda, they're getting ready to try and push it by putting that Revelation 13 and 16 in you, the MOTB, in your hand and your forehead, which is a chip. You see a micro C-hip inside of your hand or in your forehead. You see, that's gonna brand all the ones that who choose to belong unto these devils. You see, who choose to belong unto these top elite banking families. While the elect are going to have that spiritual mark, you see, which that mark in the Hebrew is tawa'ah, right? Which means what? Exemption from judgment. You see, they're going to have the true names of the Lord and the true doctrine. They're going to have that mark and be preserved from all this hell that's going to come. The Lord's going to make way for them to escape. You see, the Lord's going to give them the spirit to endure, being a martyr. The Lord's going to have ways where they eat. Angels giving them spiritual power. The Lord's going to deliver his elect. The ones that choose this route to follow Yahweh and not love their life unto death. Be willing to lay down their life for the truth and believe until they're going to bend the knee. You see? And end up being caught up. But it's not going to be no easy times, man. All right? We're approaching some very rough time period. And that's why the sentiment of this lesson is resisting those pleasures. Being in that mindset of sacrifice. Matter of fact, let's go here. Let's go here. Because Timothy was a heavy book that Paul wrote. Paul wrote to Timothy. You know, Paul called major hell. Matter of fact, let's go into that precept too, as well. Let me get two of them real quick. I think that's 2 Corinthians 11. I think it's 2 Corinthians 11. Let me see if I'm right. Okay, let's see if it's here. Oh, yeah. This is 2 Timothy chapter 11, and I'm gonna start at verse 23. It says, "Are they ministers of a Mashiach? I speak as a fool. I am more." Right. So he was kind of saying like a question like, sorry, am I not a servant of Yahweh Shai? Like he was saying it like he basically said in a manner as if like nigga, I'm definitely a servant of the Lord. He said it like in a jesting way to them, right? In his letter. It says, "Are they ministers of Mashiach?" It says, "I speak as a fool." He said, I don't know what I'm talking about. It says, "I am more in labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths often." Right? He was in life or death situations. It says, "Of the Jews, 5 times I received 40 stripes, save one." You see, they beat him. It says, "Thrice I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned." It says, I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day have I been in deep. Yeah, he's with those prisoners. He got shipwrecked. There was a storm. The Lord preserved him in it, but he was in a storm. It says beaten with rods. It says I was stoned because Paul was at Acts 14. He got stoned, and he got right back up. The Lord raised him up and got him right back to preaching. All right, it says, "In journeying often in perils of waters, perils of robbers, perils of my own countrymen, and perils by the heathen," right? It says, "And in the city, perils of the wilderness, and perils of the sea, and perils among false brethren," lying. You see, he also went through persecution from Nero. All right, in weariness and painfulness, in watching often, in hunger and in thirst, in fastings often, in cold and in nakedness. You see? So he went through major pure hell, and we're going to get ready to go through a lot of these various same trials as these times ramp up, because we're going to be forced into doing it, man. Because we're not gonna be tapped. We're not gonna take that charagma. So that technology is getting closer. So as that technology is closer, the squeeze and the plagues is gonna get closer. That financial decline, as the money is gonna crash more. Okay, they're gonna push this wicked technology to be able to track you and trying to demonize us and stuff with the AI. Right? This is the time that we're approaching. So I'm ending off with this precept right here. Okay, this is let's see if this is what I want. No, that's not what I want. Okay, let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 3. And let's see here. Yep, let's go to I want to go to this one. This is second Timothy chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 11. It says, "Persecutions, afflictions, which came unto me at Antioch, at Iconium, at Lystra, what persecutions I endured, but out of them all Yahweh shall deliver me." And our faith is gonna get brought to the test of that level. Like Paul got stoned, right? Brothers may get tested with being a martyr. You see, Paul got persecuted. You see, he got placed in prison. So we're getting closer to that time what we're gonna have to go through. So that's why we gotta already have our mindset focused in on what we may have to endure. You see, and also like in our mindset, understanding that being indifferent about everything around us, your job, your family, your woman, certain things you got to be like, man, Lord might have a subs where I got to forsake that as a test, and I got to be willing to do that. I can't let nothing get in the way of me serving the Lord, which is easier said than done, but that's the mindset we got to try and think about. So that way, whenever it happens, that you're expecting the worst and hoping for best, hoping for good, expecting something bad to go wrong, because that's what's going to happen. Right? It says, it says verse 12, 2 Timothy 3 and 12. It says, "Yea, and all that will live godly in Yahweh Mashiach shall suffer persecution." And that's what we're getting ready to happen, persecution. From this technology, Esau has the 6G to track people, and they can make it look like use the AI to make it like we're doing things that we're not doing. They're attacking everybody that's coming against the NWO. So that's the point I wanted to go into, man. Hey, this new year ain't no it's not gonna be no mirth and joyous, time of celebration like people are celebrating right now. Now, this new year is finna be rough. It's gonna get real rough out here, man. All right, and that's why we got to get more closer to Yahweh Shah to cleave to him in these times. Because that's how we're going to pass the test, by keeping the faith. But anyways, Lord willing, you know, the lesson edify. I like to end it all by saying, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Okay, the honors to the apostles, the elders, great millstone, root, teach, roll. Till next time, come on, Shalom.